Alright guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about tips and ways that you cannot struggle in finding fall bass without any electronics. Let's get into it. Finding fall bass can be kind of hard without electronics because bass in the fall, they focus more on bait than anything else in the water column. They don't focus on structure as much. They don't focus on bluegill or shade or temperature of the water. They just focus on the bait schools. Now, one thing that you do have going for you, in the fall, the bass push the bait in all the coves. And a cove in a par pocket looks like this on the screen. Now, I'm going to be showing you how to fish a cove effectively to catch a lot of fall bass. Now, there's two different types of lakes. Number one, there's a grass lake, and number two, there's no grass lake. Now, a grass lake, it's really easy to find the best part of the cove. What you do is you get like a lipless crankbait or something, and you start from the out, and then you work your way in until you find the best looking grass. So what you can do is you can make a cast on the outside of the cove, and then pull up the grass, and if it's like a brown or like a little bit like darker, like a lighter green, maybe like kind of like a brownish color, put that on your boat and then move in more, okay? Then cast back in there, and then pull the grass out, take a piece of grass, lay it next to the one you found on the outside, and if it's better, then keep going in the cove. And then if you get in the cove and like in like the very back of the cove, and it's like super good grass, then focus most of your time fishing in the back of the cove. But if say like the middle is really good grass because like the shallow part's too cold, and like there's too cloudy, so like the deep part's not really producing a lot of sunlight for the grass to grow, then fish the middle part. You can like finding the best grass is one of the best ways to fish on a shallow lake with grass. Now with a deep lake or like a more river system without any grass lake, or like a deep canyon highland reservoir, you can go towards the back of the cove, like go to the very back of the cove and then work your way out, moving in 10-foot increments. So say you're fishing in 5 foot. After you finish fishing 5 foot, well, I say 10-foot increments until you get past probably like 20 feet. So move from 5 foot to 10 foot to 15, then to 20. And after you get to 20, then go to 30, then 40. And then that's how deep your cove is, and you haven't caught any bass, then move to the next one. Because from 20 to about 5 feet in highland reservoirs where most of the time the shad are going to be and the bass are going to be, but they can be in 10 feet of water but not in 15 feet of water, or they can be in 5 feet but not 10 feet. So you got to like carefully fish between that 5 and 20 mark, and then kind of just like skip around the 20 to 40 foot mark. So let's get into way number 2 you can find fish in the fall. So how's another way to find bass in the fall? Is literally just looking with your eyes. Now, what do you look for? Like, you look for like little pops, and then, well, obviously, your big kabooms when the bass blow up on the shad. Now, if you find those little pops, like those little just like spurts of water that go in the air, that's shad schooling. And if you go to those and then you like sit there or like fish around them but keep your eye on them, within casting distance, when those bass come through and they get active and they start blowing up on them, you can just throw a little topwater bait in there, and then 2 or 3 will come blowing up on your topwater bait, and then you may catch 2 or 3. I'm just saying. I have caught almost two fish on a walking bait before. It was wild. It was crazy. It was crazy. But that is tip numero 2. Is just literally just look for the shad. And then tip number 3 to not suck in the fall time is not staying in one place for too long. Because in bass, or especially in the fall time, once the bass find the shad, they'll stay on the shad all day. They can move 50 miles with the shad all around the lake. So you don't want to stay in one spot for too long. So you fish this point and you don't catch nothing, so go to another point or go to a cove or something. But you can always just come back to your spots that you fished earlier in the day at the end of producing, but you really think there's some bass there, because when the bass are chasing the shad around, it's all on the shad. The bass just follow it around. Like it's like basically like your mom and a grocery store. Whenever you're a little kid You just follow your mom around all day. That's what the bass are doing. They're just following their mother around all day until they have perfect time to run off and just, grab a little candy bar, shove it down when the bass just blow up on some shad, you know what I mean? And with that, we have came to the, almost forgot to tell you, the top bait for finding schools of shad. I literally pretty much only have two. Number one is some type of moving bait. So like my personal favorites around grass fisheries are lipless crankbait, because I can throw it out there in the grass and rip it out. Or if I'm like not fishing grass, I can hop it, pop it off the bottom, let it fall back down, hop it off the bottom, let it fall back down. And number two, a dang drop shot. And there's going to be a video coming out very soon about fishing a drop shot, a different technique that I prefer, and I catch lots of bass on it that you probably do not know how to do. But I also do a drop shot. But another thing with the drop shot, I do not put a worm. I rarely ever put a worm on my drop shot bait. The only time I do that is probably like the summertime and bed fishing. That's the only time I put a worm on it. I put a worm on it. But usually I'm going with like a bait fish style drop shot bait. Like I like to throw like little minnows, like little paddle tail swim baits. My favorite being the blip minnow. That boy on a nose hook can catch any bass anywhere, no matter how pressured they are. The blip minnow is literally like the king of drop shot baits. And then lipless crankbaits color, I just like to keep it simple. Some type of shinier silver color, like a shad color, a little bit of blue on there, something like that. Something light, nothing heavy. But that's my favorite baits for grass, and then for like offshore or like highland reservoirs, no grass, I keep the drop shot, but I changed the lipless crankbait for a dang underspin. Now, the underspin can catch a lot of bass. Now, there's different types of underspin. There's a weedless version of the underspin. I mean, it's okay, but like, if the grass gets wrapped on a blade, no matter how weedless it is, it's gonna, well, not spin. But that's why I throw it on like where there's no grass. Because I can rip the lipless crankbait out of the grass, but usually with the underspin, there's nothing really to rip because it's like tangled around, so you know what I mean? There's no tension pulling back. But on like a highland reservoir, you can fire it out there and just wind it back in, maybe give it a pop or like let it fall, something aggressive the bass can see it. And I'm gonna keep a drop shot, same minnow style bait as before. But if I'm throwing the drop shot, I'm throwing the lightest weight possibly can. Usually I'm throwing like an 1/8 to even like, I've said like an 1/8 to probably like a 3/16, maybe, to like maybe probably like a 1/4 is probably my max I'm going on drop shots. And I'm not power shotting this time of the year. This time of the year, they're not eating worms, they're eating small bait fish. Focus your lures on smaller bait fish sizes as well. Bass ain't going for these boys no more. They're going for these boys some more, okay? With that, we come to the end of the video, I think. Yes, maybe, possibly. Yes, we do. And, well, I hope you all enjoyed another video on the old tube. And I'm almost at 100 subs, so help me get there. So peace out. Here's a big one. Peace.